Okay, let's go. Game 5 of this tournament, and my opponent is, I believe, still higher rated than me. I believe like 1840 or something, which is, I mean, it's only 30-ish rating points above me, but you know, it's the closest. That's at least something. And I played as black, and let's see how the game went. My opponent opened c4, which I just play knight f6 against, because on d5 d4 I can play a Benoni, and in any other case I'll just play some normal, like Sicilian-esque, close Sicilian-esque setup, which is what happened in this case. Actually, I play e5, so it's a close Sicilian reverse setup, sort of. Knight f3, d6. I didn't want to play knight c6 because I might want to play c6 instead. But after e3 I'm totally okay with playing knight c6, because I wanted to wait until they play g3. This does put my bishop here, which is kind of unfortunate, but yeah. Bishop f5 makes sense, just developing as a sort of close Sicilian reversed. I think this is a move that makes sense. Bishop e2 makes sense. Knight c6 and d4. So the fight at this in the center starts now. It seems okay. I can take and keep the pawn structure like this. They can even take with the knights if in theory, but then maybe I take again. I can also try to push, and then play with a space majority on the king side, but I was planning on castling king side, so it's unclear. I can also just ignore it for a bit, which is what I did. I played queen c7, queen d7, and maybe castle long even, because my pawns are in this direction, which, I mean, the Lichess already creates a nice arrow, so these pawns imply an arrow like this. So if I castle long, I can go for a kingside attack. a3, h6 because of knight h4 ideas. Maybe it's not forced, but I wanted to wait basically what on what happened on in the center before I picked where my king went. But knight d5 first. And this is interesting. Well, my bishop is bad, so I can play bishop e7 to defend this knight. I don't want to let my opponent take without defending the knight. It also kind of pressures here, so I can't play queen e6, so the only real way to defend it is bishop e7. So I looked at taking it, or playing bishop e7 basically, and taking it, if they take with the c pawn, I'd have to move my knight, and then they might take on e5. Oh, and that wins a pawn. Yeah, that wins a pawn. So I cannot take, so I'm forced to play bishop e7. My opponent takes a lot more space on the queen side, but I believe, yeah, here I get some sort of counterplay. So I take on d4, which is the start, and if you take back with the pawn, then I take on d5 and it's all fine. If you take with the knight, and then I can take again, and if you take with the pawn, same idea, so you have to take with the queen probably, after which I can still take the knight and play bishop f6, and my bishop gets out and pretty active. I'd be happy to play that, but my opponent the other option, of course, is my opponent has to now trade with the knight, so they took on e7. And I played knight takes e7. No, sorry, I didn't. I played queen takes e7. And the second point is that now if you take with the pawn, or whatever, but actually no, you do need to take with the pawn for this. If you take with the knight, I can just take. And then if you take with the pawn, same idea. And so if you take with the queen, then, I mean, then the game continues. There's no real plan, I don't think. But like, just castle. And this space is something but not that big. And if you take with the pawn, I get d5. If you take at all in any position with the pawn, I get d5. Because if you take, then the pawn structure is terrible, and I'd play against an isolated d-pawn, which is that's already blockaded, by the way. And if I am allowed to take, same thing, I can blockade it immediately. Actually, not quite. I do need to castle or play rook d8, and then try to blockade it really quickly. Maybe I can't quite take, but I have time and stuff. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. But my opponent played c5 immediately. This also is fine for me. So this pawn structure is kind of stuck. I mean, you can still play b5, but mostly this pawn can become a weakness now. So there is, I mean, white is still better, of course, because more space and bishop pair, but I have something to do, at least. I do play a6 to prevent b5, and now this pawn structure is kind of stuck. My opponent castled. I delayed castling by one move. I played knight e4 first. Bishop b2, because I was threatening knight c3. So bishop b2, and I castle. Now we're done with the opening. Again, pretty equal, like you should expect here. But I have a good knight, so my opponent tries to get rid of it. Knight d2. But that's, I think knight d2 is a bit passive. Also bishop b2 is a bit passive. So here I pounce, basically. Here I go for, I don't want to call it an attack, but some pressure. I play queen to g5, which threatens to take, actually. And bishop c1, I go here, of course, which doesn't actually win material, but it's kind of actually, does it win material? Bishop. I mean, the knight can move, and then maybe not. Maybe you get something like this. Oh, actually, I could take with check is the point. Yeah, okay. So I was actually threatening something here. So bishop c1 is not good. And the only other way to defend this is by moving it. You can play knight f3, but then the last move was useless. And I mean, my knight is still great. I can play queen g. Maybe not. I can play here. Also not great. I can play here. No. I can play here. That seems decent. I won a tempo at least, so that's something. And the only other move, because I mean you can go here, but that doesn't do anything. And then maybe I get like bishop h3 or something. But the normal move is just to take, which happened, and I took back with the bishop. Immediate mate threat, of course. And bishop f3 to defend. So I wanted to not have to take with the pawn, because this pawn I don't think is very good, especially since this pawn can the pawn on e4 isn't very good, because partially because it allows the opponent to play d5 and open up this bishop, kick my knight, pawn becomes really strong. So I wanted to defend my bishop, so I played rook a e8. And this rook, because I had plans of doing this basically, and this rook wasn't going to do anything anyways. So rook a e8, bishop doesn't take, I don't think. No, not yet. Yeah, after a while it does, but first rook e1, putting some more pressure, and I put pressure back. I defend and attack. I could have done this immediately, but then maybe they take and I'd lose the e-file. So now if they take, I take with the rook, and I don't lose the e-file. So that seems good for me. I think I'm already better here, which is weird, because I don't really see what my opponent did wrong other than knight d2 being slightly passive. But maybe c4 is just not that forceful, so it's easy to equalize. I don't know. So queen f4, putting some pressure here. Bishop c1. And here I was calculating something that doesn't work, but I realized that after my next move it could work. So you can almost sack, well, kind of sack the queen, because you almost win this, but not quite, and then it's just, there's just nothing. Actually not f3. Also you get this option, but like that actually does win a pawn, but you also get this one. Unclear. Yeah, and this is just, I wasn't confident in it. I don't think it works here, but I think after queen h4, which I played, after g3 it is possible. So I did not expect my opponent to play g3. Or I mean even at all in this entire position. But yeah, first bishop e3. And this defends this pawn, so I can't take and win a pawn anymore. This was kind of necessary here. The bishop was necessary, and now I am threatening to win this pawn, but it doesn't actually work. So here it does work, because if you take with the queen, other than this, so you have to take, maybe take here first. Because if I take the queen, you take here with check, so I have to take back, then take here, and then I win this. So this actually wins a pawn. Which is why my opponent plays bishop e3 here. And I play f5 to defend the bishop, and maybe open up my f-file if they take, and I take with the f-pawn. Also plans with f4 to kick the bishop. Doesn't actually threaten anything here, but the bishop would have to go all the way to c1, because otherwise the pawn actually does fall, and from there we'll just play on, I think. Maybe I play g5, g4 or something. But my opponent of course prevents that with the move g3, which I never expected them to play in a million years, because like what's going on here. My queen is on h3. This looks really scary. And this bishop is already on the good diagonal. But fortunately they can take here. Now if I take with the f-pawn, I can get rook f3 and the attack stops there. There's really nothing much there. If I take with the rook, which I could have done as well, the bishop really blocks everything. Note, I'm playing for a win. Again, I have 1 out of 4, but I really want to play every game for a win. A draw is not enough, even though I'm playing black. So the only way to actually play for a win is to take with the d-pawn and push through like that. And maybe if ever d5 I can do this. My opponent was, I think, accurately afraid of g5, f4 and played f4 in this position. Maybe they could have waited a move, but then maybe I take, which might be good for me. So now I can take en passant, which is always forced, of course. I haven't played en passant this tournament. I played it twice, so I played it. I also have an en passant next game, I believe. I remember at the in the tournament noticing that I played en passant twice, which is interesting because it doesn't happen all that often. I actually took, which is what that means. Yeah, because if I don't, then this doesn't do anything because the bishop and this pawn does actually run, and my queen is kind of trapped here. It can get out, I guess, but then my then they can just take, and my pawn becomes bad. So I do have to take, unfortunately, or kind of fortunately, and my opponent takes with the queen. Here in game 3 I played rook e4, which was a terrible blunder, and here it's totally fine. Here it's good. And note again, on any time d5 happens, I play knight e4 and knight g5, knight e5, knight g4 here. No longer knight f3, but knight g4 is also great. So rook e4, threatening here, creating a doubling my rooks. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, I think this is a good move in this position. My opponent plays rook a1, defending. It's the only move that defends other than queen d1. But queen d1, I mean, I still play this, and then they need to find a way to save the bishop, and it's kind of pinned. But this just barely works for them. Bishop f2. And here I think I missed a plan. So I traded on e1. I'll show you what happened for the first next couple of moves. This is what happened, and I played queen g4, which I'll get to, but I don't need to do anything here. I realized at some point they can't actually take, because I just take back with the rook. So one thing I can do is, in that position, it's important to note that this doesn't work. And so for first, this is winning. Here, and knight back probably, and I believe this is winning for me. Maybe I shouldn't give the knight that easily, but maybe. Oh, this, of course, this is winning. And any other chance is here, and then g5. Oh, sorry, knight f3 they can take. But I mean, I even have queen b2 here, and maybe this is a draw still. But the issue is, check, and I lose a knight. Which I saw here. Which is one move too late, unfortunately. So, I think, in this position, the win is king h2, king h7. I think this is winning, because white can't actually do anything, and if I do this next move, I win the pawn, and they can't take here, and I think that's fine for me. Especially now that my king is off the back rank, then this plan with queen b2 is actually winning. I think. So, king h7 is the win, but unfortunately we play this. I think king h7 is winning. And I play queen g4, which puts a second attacker here, and attacks the queen, of course. So there are two ways to defend. Either you trade queens and use the bishop or something, and then my king gets in really quickly, and or you try to do something else, like give this check, which happened. So where were we? Queen d5, check, king h7, and bishop f2. But in this position I infiltrate. King g2 is forced, and queen d3, defending here, attacking here, putting pressure still. And you can't move the pawn, so there's not much you can do here. Yeah, you can't move this one, you can't move that one, because then I take here. So you're kind of out of moves. You can move the queen, but also not really. So my opponent did try this, but I think that made the position worse. After knight e5. And my knight, so there are two things. Either you do this, which I think loses, it should lose at least. You can't take, of course. After this, and let's do this one last. This one is easy. You can't defend the bishop because the knight attacks here. This one, I think, still the same issue. And the only other chance you have is this, after which I need to find a good plan. Maybe it's still knight d3, or knight g4 here might also work. Yeah, this also works, because this is actually checkmate. Also, and it wins a piece. But this is... oh, there's no g5. Never mind, it's not checkmate. But I do win a piece. So, you can't take. Option 2 is go back and take this maybe. But then I can just go to g4. And this is what happened. This is the normal move, at least. Yeah, there's nothing else really. You can move, I don't know, here. Same thing. I think the queen is best on d5. So in that case, that means that queen d7 is actually a bad move. So knight g4. Yeah, and queen f3. It goes back. And here I decide to trade queens, because that wins a pawn. I trade and take on h2. With check, relevant. And the king moves up, of course. And here I can... so here, if I defend the pawn, like that or that, I think I should do it with the king. then d5 comes, and I am just barely in time, and everything is saved with the king, but maybe trade, and it's unclear if it's winning or not. But what I wanted to do is play this knight g4 with a tempo, and after bishop g1 then I go here to go knight f6, and I mean you can try this, but that doesn't really do anything. And then maybe I might have maybe you don't go to f6. I mean, this makes sense. Oh wait, the point was yeah, I remember the point. It was king f7. Because you can't take, and then I'd win the pawn. Here. This was the point. King f4, I win the pawn. And king e5, maybe not that. Maybe not knight d7. Maybe not. I don't. Can't remember what the point was exactly. This didn't happen though. I played knight g4 and my opponent played d5. This is a bishop sack in a bishop versus knight endgame. And we looked at it. I mean, it's so the first thing to note is, can I get back if I take the bishop? The answer is yes. However, this is brilliant. Look, if I take d6, take, I need to give this check. They can take the pawn. Here. So I'm there. King e6. Actually, this might be fine. No, this is winning. Sorry. Yeah, this is winning for black, because these pawns just run, and this only wins a piece. But what was the point? Was it that you can't actually take the pawn? No. Why did I? So there's an important note to make here. If you maybe I can. I saw a variation where you can even do this. So if you promote, then check wins. This is it. Yeah. Okay, I can't defend the pawn, but this is beautiful. Let's say b5, and we looked at this, and you need to see this from like taking the bishop, which is at move 37. This is move 43, and the point I saw this, and now I'm in Zugzwang. So after this, if my king moves, I lose the knight and I lose the game. If the knight could move in theory, these pawns can't move because my king is in the way, and this pawn, if I try this, you just take, and I do run, but this pawn deflects my king from my knight. So this is actually, this is a losing endgame, I think. Yeah, because you can stand in front. Yeah, this is a losing endgame. So, so I can't actually defend the pawn, was the point. And because despite being on time, it's not good enough. Right? Because you don't have to go to e5. You can also go here, and then, no. Then I'm not on time. Wait a second. Because this is winning, right? Because I go here. Maybe this is not winning is the point. That I could go there. And yeah, this isn't winning. No, this is still winning. Because I still have a knight. Wait. Okay, king e7. g5. No, this is still very winning. I'll look at it with the engine. I might have missed that I didn't have to play king g6. And you can... But you need to see this from here. From this position, you need to see... which one is it? I saw this. But this isn't good enough. There's also this, which we later saw in analysis, that I can go here. And this is also winning. Yeah. None of this happened because I was afraid. I didn't actually take. I played the move king g6, defending the pawn. But now the bishop gets here to d4, which won white a tempo, and that might be the difference between winning and drawing this game, because you're not, for me at least, because white isn't winning this, but white could draw this. And yeah, they played it well. I played knight f6. Probably that variation with knight f6 is going to happen in this game. Yeah, because that's what happened here. Knight f6. Oh no, it sort of happened. I remember now. Where were we? Knight f6. There, knight f6, king e5. Yeah, the king moves in, and I can defend. So the king can't move forward, and if the king takes here, I take there. And that should be... I should still be able to play that for a win. The other option is d6, after which I give this check. If you take... I take... Oh yeah, if you take here, king gets kicked out and I win the pawn. And there's nothing you can do about it. And then I'm playing for a win again. If you go here, then that's just a strictly worse version of that last variation. And if you go here, I can kick that king out even further. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I think this is fine. And then play g5. And claim that this 3v1 is winning. Because I permanently block this, and there's no way to infiltrate other than here, which the king can't do. So this is what actually happened in the game. So after d6, I give it his check, they go to d5, give another check. Maybe the check isn't accurate, but I think it is. And then g5. And the king tries to get back. I move up. king e3. And here I thought I had calculated that this endgame was winning, but I calculated incorrectly, unfortunately. So there are two things I can do. I have two pieces defending one pawn. I only need one of them. So this knight is currently doing that. So one thing I can do is I can move up with my king, like this. But then the bishop gets here. I can also move with my king there. Maybe. That could be interesting. I can also reroute my knight. I can move it here. What was the plan? There was a plan here that we talked about. I believe it was here. Because my king is currently defending, I can do whatever I want. Here. Yeah, and then just f5 or something. And then reroute my knight to a good square where it defends. Or it might have been here, king moves, like here king moves and knight d6, and then it defends d8. But I do need to be careful for bishop and stuff. So there were plenty of options, and unfortunately this isn't it. Bishop, yeah, just trading off, I thought was winning. I would have gone here if they didn't take, I think, or here, or here. But they took. And I thought this was actually still winning. But it's not. h5. So if you have two pawns next to one another, that's clearly a draw. Because the king can just stand in front. But for a second I thought that this was still winning after this. This was still winning, I thought. And if you play g4, I play f4. I think this, I assumed that this was still winning, but it's not. Actually, this might be winning. No, it isn't. Right? No, this is winning. And f3. If you go here, then you're in Zugzwang as white. So you can still like make some moves, but now you're in Zugzwang, and now you've lost. So that was winning, but also taking is a draw, because you get to actually let's look at that. Doesn't matter what my king does, my king is stuck. You can try this and I give the check, because if you take then I run. Check. No, wait, you can't actually do that. Tempo. Here. Again. And now the issue is stalemate. Wait. Is this winning? Wait. Am I... Wait. This is also winning, because it's not actually a stalemate. The king has no squares, but this can move. And this is winning. Wait, I do probably need to push instead. I need to be really fast though. I need to give my opponent all of the tempi that they could possibly need. No, this is still a draw. Maybe I can. No, I can't do that. Oh no, this is completely fine. This is actually winning. Take push. This I can take. That's completely fine as well. No, yeah, no, this is fine, because now I'm blocking both, and now I can give the check in between. Okay, so this is winning. Okay. G4 is winning. And I thought this was winning as well. But it's not, because the king actually goes here. And my pawns aren't on the same rank. And because in, let's say, this I think is winning. Oh no, it's not, because you go here still. And there's nothing I can do. The point is that these two squares are blocked, but that doesn't matter, because there's nothing here. Yeah. So I assumed that this was a win, but it's not, and I played here actually on move 50 and offered a draw, and it was accepted. So now I am, by making, I believe, 1 inaccuracy per match, I'm down 2.5 points to what I could have done. So let's see how accurate I was. I think I made 1 inaccuracy here in the end game. This is not great, but it's playable. My opponent also mentioned it. Yeah. Okay, d5 would have been good, but this is fine. Counterplay time. Queen takes is the better move, yes. Castle immediately. I played d5, also good. Yeah, now I'm almost better already. Knight d4. Still a touch worse, but I have some. Now I'm better. Yeah. Now I am slightly better, and now I need to play this. Yeah, no human plays knight f3 here. Take. Yeah, f3. Also no human plays f3 here, because it allows queen e3. I don't think any human plays that. So now I'm just better. This is apparently wrong, but it's okay. Yeah, I could have taken it on f3, but I think that's a draw actually, because you, right? Because you don't actually win the pawn. Oh, rook e4, and then you might actually win the pawn. Queen e7. Okay, that also makes sense. But yeah, f5 is also fine. Yeah, this I assumed was bad. Bishop h1, lol. Take. Oh, f takes. Really? The play isn't over? Okay, I mean, I'm still better here, but my opponent defended well. Rook e8. Knight takes d4. It also works, because both of them, both the bishop and rook are overloaded defending the e1 square, and if you take here in between, oh, then the queen hangs, of course, clearly. So I just win a pawn here, and knight e2 is like really awful actually. Nice. Unfortunate. Okay, I guess I didn't play it perfectly. I guess I missed a win. And you can't take. Queen g2. Yeah, king h7 is also winning, or also better. Queen g4. Now it's equal again. Bishop f2 only move. Check here. Now I'm slightly better again. You have to go back completely. Oh, knight c4, that's fascinating. Now this is better. Slightly better again. Knight g4 to get back, and you have to find a bishop sack to be equal. Otherwise I'd have to... bishop e1 is apparently also playable. But yeah. Oh, now it... Wait. Just here it says minus 0.1 and here now it's calculating. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that if you don't take the bishop it's just a draw. But I was... Yeah, king takes... Yeah, the king g8 is the point and h5, wow. Actually, doesn't the pawn still promote? But I just need to be faster. Okay, now you do... I need to be really, really fast a4. And white is just really slow. Push. And this is the only way to equalize and... I mean... I guess. But yeah, every other move is just a draw. And there really isn't anything, I don't think. c6 or c6 would have been cool, but d6, knight d7, not the only move, but almost. Is this? Okay, no, this is, I mean, this is clearly better for me, but I didn't think this would be winning. And this is a draw. 0, 0, 0, 0. Slightly better pair. King h3. Yeah. Whoops. Okay, this is a draw, 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 draw. Yeah, draw, draw. It's losing at the end. Whoops. Okay. But yeah, I was better for quite a bit. But the end game was just... Yeah. Apparently this is winning if I just play it accurately. Like, I would have played... Whoa. That wasn't what I was going to do. h5. And move up. Yeah, that was my second plan. Knight e5 check g. This cannot be the way, right? The bishop just blockades both. Oh, maybe it is. Because it's really hard for the bishop to do everything you need it to do. Which is defend these two and make sure that my king can't bully the opponent's king. But still, I'm up 2 pawns, but it still can't be that winning, right? Okay, I mean, sure. I have an A pawn now. Now it's getting close to winning. Yeah, now it's winning. Yeah, you can't stop the pawn anymore. And the opponent just engine moves. It announced mate in 2 at some point. And then it didn't. But yeah, whatever. Okay. So I guess there was still a moment where it was winning. But I mean, again, I'm not a terrible player, clearly. Again, I'm better in the middle game as black against people with higher rating, and I screw up the end game. So I know what I need to practice. I know what I need to focus on. I need to focus on endgames. So in the last game, I realized that I really need to focus on endgames because I'm really bad at endgames. So what I did is something else, and you'll have to wait and see it there.